morning, namaste to everyone here. An esteemed gathering of, as Manika ji was mentioning, academicians, practitioners from various parts of the country and the world, in fact, who are also joining us online. So welcome everyone to Rishihood, and for the first edition of the conference, what you see there, ICAAD 2023, with the focus on identity. Most importantly, also welcome to all our esteemed faculty members, staff members of Rishihood, and the students here, which I think in this day-long deliberations, there'll be a lot to learn from people from different domains, right? And that would be, I think, in many ways, the themes chosen for the conference. I was just looking at that. It's cultural studies, material futures, decolonial discourses, and how the creative industry has changed in the post-pandemic era. So a lot of variety of topics to be covered today, and we'll definitely get to learn a lot from this. And talk about why creativity itself, given that we are a new university in that sense, and when the founding team of the university were thinking about what are the different founding schools that the university should have. Very interestingly, we chose a school of creativity to be one of the initial 5 founding schools of the university. We, of course, have public leadership, we have entrepreneurship, we have healthcare, education, and creativity. So why creativity? Because when we imagine education at Rishihood, of course, we see it as a multidisciplinary education. We don't see these schools as verticals, which we typically see in universities where there are departments, they offer their own programs, and students specialize in that programs. That's very much true. But given the changing needs of society and education in general, you need to have these schools imagined as horizontals themselves as well. So when we see all the different titles of the schools, you will imagine them to be schools that are foundational meta skills, as you can call it, right? For example, if leadership is a meta skill, entrepreneurship is a meta skill, education is a meta skill. In that sense, creativity also is a meta skill. What do we mean when we think of something as a meta skill? It's a skill that will allow you to develop other skills. Right? So we don't see a specialization in the skill alone, but also a skill that will keep you a learner for life. Okay? So where do we see, when we imagine creativity, we have something in our mind. But as was mentioned by Michelle in the opening remarks, when Swami Vivekananda himself thought of creativity, he thought of it as a risk-taking ability. So when we say that Rishihood University is an impact university, so naturally, problem solving is the first thing that comes to your mind. If we have to go and address society's issues, we'll have to address problems. Why are there problems? Because people are imagining how do we want to address these problems. And when you develop creativity as a meta skill, you can look at problems in a very multidisciplinary way, in a very creative way, which others would have not thought of it so far, and that is how you would want to address it. So we see creativity as a very important meta skill in that sense. When we say creativity, we talk about 21st century skills. I know on LinkedIn there are all this, what are the 10 21st century skills always being discussed, right? So one of them we'll constantly keep thinking about is, we keep coming across is collaboration. Again, collaboration is not possible without having a sense of, or the skill of creativity within you. Because when you have a team that you are managing in your workplace, people of a lot of different diverse backgrounds, it is the creativity of the person who is leading the team who can develop this sense of collaboration, communication, interpersonal relationships, so that you can develop innovative solutions that will address the needs of the organization that you are leading. So we should all start seeing creativity not as a vertical and more as a horizontal, as a meta skill that each of us should imbibe while we lead our lives, because this is what is going to keep. That is what is Rishihood University's School of Creativity's mission as well. That this problem-solving approach, this sense to what we call design thinking, empathy, where we look at things from the perspective of the person who is in front of us, those are the skills that we want to imbibe at the School of Creativity. And that is a unique dimension of creativity that we want to offer to the community that we have around us. That is one part. But again, one more thing I want to say which keeps Rishihood University apart is a constant focus on what we talk about: culture, identity, the theme of this conference itself, our knowledge heritage, our civilization that has perhaps the only living civilization in the world today that has lasted for a few millennia, right? That is, so when we talk about heritage, culture, civilization, is it in contradiction to creativity? Because creativity is constantly seen as disruptive, right? It is something new. So how do we create something new while staying rooted to who we are? That is a very interesting way to look at things. So particularly, I think it is very important because when we think that we want to disrupt, our constant endeavor is how do we change? What do we change? And that I think has become an issue because we don't give regard to what should not change. We don't think of it very often. So when I see all our young students, and what is being typically discussed is we have to disrupt. So we think what is out there is not so good, and we are coming here with the spirit of disrupting things. But I think the challenge and what the world needs today is while we change, we also need to know what does not need to change. So while we stay rooted in who we are, we create something new out of it. Because some things are timeless, but their expressions, as we see creative expressions, that might change over a period of time. Like today morning has a discussion with some of our team members. So we were discussing that, for example, if you think about our epics, our stories of our civilization, perhaps the last creative attempt which was made popular among school students was the Amar Chitra Katha. Some of you would have seen it. I don't know how popular it is today. There's a comic series where everybody can read and understand about India very well. It has still been the Amar Chitra Katha. Since then, have we been able to creatively express our heritage, which is going and reaching out to those 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds out there? Not as much. Even in animation movies, many different ways, what Disney has been able to produce or what Marvel has been able to produce, we have not been able to produce those stories in creative ways. The stories are the same, they are timeless lessons out there, but we need newer and newer creative expressions of this to come out. And that is a huge opportunity which lies in front of us. And that is also one of the mission statements of Rishihood. So how do we stay rooted, yet stay relevant and solve the global grand challenges that are out there? Because at the end of the day, we are an impact university and the school of creativity, and creativity is a skill or a meta skill that we want all our students to imbibe. So this is the big challenge in front of us. If we can address this, that would be a unique contribution that we make to the whole creative fraternity that we have out there. And I'm sure that this conference in its inaugural edition is going to address this. And all of us, will, as participants, will learn how this can be possible. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.